This Easter sermon is, as we might say, non-traditional. It's a non-traditional Easter service, a non-traditional Easter sermon. I want to repeat the words that inspired this sermon. This is a song written by Paul Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary. Those of you of a certain age will remember Peter, Paul, and Mary when they first began. This is a song that he wrote and they sang. Shirley's going to play a little of the chorus with it, and I'm going to read some of the words from it. It's very repetitive, and it says the same thing. Here are the words. Weave, weave, weave me the sunshine out of the falling rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow and fill my cup again. Weave, weave, weave me the sunshine out of the falling rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow and fill my cup again. You may have heard the song. I've got this fancy phone now, and I've got tune listed, all of that kind of thing, and I can play it on my car, and I listened to this, and I heard this song. And then one morning this week, in the week past, I don't know, it's probably 3 a.m. or about that time, I awakened, and these words were going through my head. Weave, weave, weave me the sunshine out of the falling rain. And I could not place, if you had that happen, I could not place where the song, who sang it, where was it coming from? But I just kept going over them again and again in my head. One of the convenient things about my house is that my office is in my bedroom too. You know, if you're busy working, now that we work at home, and you want to take a nap, you just let your computer rest, lie down, take a nap. So I got up at that time. I didn't turn on the computer, but I wrote the words down. Then when I got up that morning, I said, what are these words? What? And she looked at me like I was from the far side of the moon. She didn't know. I said, well, you know, if you don't know them, I'll have to find them. But we have Dr. Google now, as we know, that we can find anything. So I typed in, weave, weave, weave me the sunshine, and there it was. It was written, again, by Paul Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary. Don't know how much you know about them. I've read a lot about them this past week. I've always liked their music because it spoke to social issues. It speaks to religious issues. Music is indeed and truly the great universal language. And what we get out of it, a lot of times may not be what the author or the writer intended, or the composer, what he or she thought someone might. But I read this and heard this, and I thought, that is the message of Easter. Because that's what we're talking about. Weave me a new tomorrow. Weave me the sunshine out of the falling rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow and fill my cup again. Paul Yarrow is, read about him just for a bit of biography, shall we say. He is a graduate of Cornell University with a degree in psychology. All those folks were very well educated, did a lot of background. Their background was very good. They came together, and uniquely, they are one of the few groups that spanned 4 generations. They sang for a long time in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Then they broke up for a while. Then they got back together. They're all, Mary is dead now. I don't know about the other two. But they're not together now, but their music lives. And these words live. I want to read this scripture that tells this story of weave me a new tomorrow out of a bad situation. What comes out of the rain when the sun shines behind it. What do you see? You see a rainbow. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow. This passage is, of course, the familiar one at Easter, found in all of the Gospels in one form or another. 28, Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 7 verses. Now after the Sabbath, toward the dawn of the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone and sat upon it. His appearance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him the guards trembled and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has risen, as he said. Come, see the place where he lay. Then go and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead, and behold, he is going before you to Galilee, and there you will see him. Lo, I have told you." The operative words in those last couple of verses of that passage are come, go, tell. Transitive verbs, verbs that mean action. Come, go, tell. Something, do this. This is the story. Here is the beginning of the sunshine coming from the falling rain. The first couple of verses of that chapter, again, I want you to remember them today as you go from here. You've heard these every Easter. Every Easter. 28th, 1, and the first half of the second. Now, after the Sabbath, toward the dawn of the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake. Behold, there was a great earthquake. Out of disaster came the greatest story of the world. Tie this to the dawn of the first day, the dawn of the morning. We gather for a sunrise service. I will honestly admit, because I try to be honestly with you, sunrise services aren't my favorite. I am not a morning person. I'm just about now beginning to hit my stride, and by the time it gets to be about 1 o'clock, I'll be in pretty good shape. But I do not do mornings well. But one morning out of the year, I have to do it. And every time I do it, I think, what a great celebration. Out of the darkness, out of the lack of new hope, out of what seemed to be total disaster, God has come and done this. Weave me the sunshine out of the falling rain. The falling rain is the whole situation. Jesus has been crucified. He's dead. We read about that in the previous chapter. He died on the cross. They took his body. They put it in a borrowed tomb. They rolled a stone across the opening of the cave. They did all of these things, placed a guard so that he couldn't get out, and thought this is the end of it. It appeared to be as darkness had indeed fallen. As darkness was upon them, and this was the end. Mary and the other women didn't know what to do, but it was the custom to go and to anoint the body. I don't know exactly all of the customs, but they went, and then the story again begins to unfold. Here is the darkness. I want to read this from the 27th chapter, verses 51 through 54. And behold, the curtain of the temple, this is when Jesus dies, was torn in two, from top to bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks were split. The tombs were also open, and many bodies of the saints had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs in his resurrection, went into the holy city and appeared to many. When the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Jesus, saw the earthquake that took place, they were filled with awe and said, "This truly is the Son of God." This truly is the Son of God. Weave me a rainbow out of the falling rain. Only God can make a rainbow out of the falling rain. Only God can yank the success, the victory from this total disaster out of the falling rain. Secondly, weave me the hope of a new tomorrow. Matthew 28, the second verse, the second half of that verse, as Jane, we say in scholarship, 2b, the second half of that verse. 2b. I read you the first part a minute ago. I'll read the whole verse. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven. And, here's B, came and rolled back the stone and sat upon it. What a vision. Here's the stone rolled away. This morning at the sunrise service on the way down there, I picked up a rock in the parsonage parking lot. And we talked about rocks and how often they appear, stones, in the course of the scriptures. It was hundreds, total over 2,000 or 3,000 times that stones and rocks are mentioned because they are a very good image. The rock that was put across that tomb blocked out the sunshine. It kept the sunshine from coming in, and there was no hope. So we sing, "Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow." And the angel rolls back that stone and sits upon the stone. And the guards stand up and faint, which is unlikely that they would do that. And Mary and the other Marys don't know what to do. But all they know is that they have been the experience of a new tomorrow. I ought to just teach you how to sing this song, if I could sing. But well, we could sing it. We could sing this Peter, Paul, and Mary song. Shirley says she's been singing it all weekend. It sticks in your head. But it's not a piano song. It's a guitar song. And he strums it on the guitar. Weave me the hope. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow. A new tomorrow. Here it's beginning. The stone's gone. Jesus has done what he said he was going to do. He rolled it back. He's gone. And then finally, the third part of this, the last part of this song, the song goes, Google it this afternoon. Listen to it. It goes on, and by the time you listen to it, you'll be singing, weave me the sunshine out of the pouring rain. Please don't. I know they're going to say, my brother's going to tell me, and my wife, please don't sing, especially if you're going to be on the live stream. Don't sing. But I want you to know what it's just so simple and such a powerful message. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow. And finally, fill my cup again. Fill my cup again. 28. I want to read you 5 through 7 one more time. Then Shirley's going to play another song for you. 5 through 7, verse 28. The angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid." Jesus told you that this was going to happen. You seek him who was crucified. He is not here, for he has risen as he said. Come see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples that he's risen from the dead. And behold, he is going forth before you to Galilee. There you will see him. Lo, I have told you. Weave me the sunshine out of the pouring rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow, and fill my cup again. One of the great songs that we sing from time to time, fill my cup, Lord. Fill it up, Lord. Let me experience this as this song you can play now, Shirley, since I can't quote any more of it. Fill my cup, Lord. I'll lift it up, Lord. Come and quench the thirsting of my soul. Bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more. Fill my cup, fill it up, and make it whole. Make me whole. From the book of Psalms, Psalm 23, one little verse again. Psalm 23, verse 5, this. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup overflows. My cup overflows. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow. Fill my cup again. To me, that story, I'm sure Paul Yarrow didn't write it about Easter, but it sure does tell the story of the despair, the falling rain, the sunshine, the hope of a new tomorrow, and the cup being filled again. In this story, we find hope in life. For in this story, God took a disaster and made a victory out of it. I was writing sports, one of the fond things that you always like to do, and it was just so cliche that they always said don't do it, but you did it anyway, is when a team where you would write they yanked defeat out of the jaws of victory. That was one of my favorite lines when writing about Kentucky football, because they could do that more than anybody I know, to yank defeat out of the jaws of victory. You're winning the game, and then you do something, and you're losing the game. In this situation, it's just the opposite. We're losing the game. Jesus is dead. Jesus is dead. We take this defeat and make it into the jaws. Take it out of the jaws. Take this defeat and make it into victory. Remember, take the words with you. They're in the back of your bulletin. Going to be the last thing you read today before you leave. Weave me the sunshine out of the falling rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow, and fill my cup again.